Good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Akosombo. We're on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are a home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, Minority warns 220 million budgeted to deal with floods caused by Akosombo Dam Spillage is woefully inadequate, stressing it is just drop in an ocean. We have details as the caucus argues that budget fails to address investments in roads and other capital projects. We'll take you live to Parliament. Also, the business community unhappy with Finance Minister's silence on scrapping of the redundant taxes in 2024 fiscal budget as they vow to pass on the cost to consumers.
When businesses have so been overtaxed, it is not fair. Now we don't have any reliefs, and the natural thing is to pass on the cost to the consuming public.
I found your leadership as extremely inspirational. Words of Chief Justice Ghc220m as she lauds the IGP Dr. Dampari for transforming the Ghana Police Service. More as the IGP assures his administration will accept constructive criticism for a positive change.
I have found your leadership of the police extremely inspirational. I think it's only a very blind person who would not have noticed.
Plus, former First Lady Theresa Kufuor goes home. We've been bringing you their final funeral rites, which took place at the forecourt at the State House. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces via Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Nana Aisha. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. The minority in Parliament says government's allocation of 220 million cedis to address the crisis caused by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam is not enough. According to the Minority Chief Whip Governs Kwame Agboja, the extent at which the destruction caused by the floods requires significant financial commitment to bring life into the affected communities.
If I imagine the fact that for NDC and some people who we have spoken to, we have the contributions we've done already, I can put a figure to it about 15 million Ghana cedis. That's food items and other things. 220 million Ghana cedis. What is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to rebuild the schools, the hospitals, resettle teachers and key workers who have been displaced, repair roads? What is this supposed to do? So that money is woefully inadequate to do anything. I wish we could have more comprehensive discussion about this, because it's not going to be a one-off thing to deal with it. If this is just for the relief part of the work, fine. But if it's supposed to be part of reconstruction, rehabilitation, and compensation, then it's a drop in the ocean. I'm also seriously concerned that despite the fact that we have seen a lot of damage in places like Keta and Anglogan, and then K2 South, Flower and Co. The abridged version of the budget we've seen, which he read, didn't say anything about the sea defense from Adan all the way to Aflau, which is a very big concern, because it's not about those people. It's about the entire coastline of our country. So I'm very disappointed about the fact that I didn't see anything about that. Whilst the problems he created were not created by him solely, it was created with the blessing of the Dr. Baumia, who is the chairman of the, the economic management team. Dr. Baumia curiously decided not to follow him to Parliament today. The governor of Bank of Ghana also decided not to follow him. They've left him to hang out and dry because they are pretending that all the problems are his. So I can't see anything. I heard him saying this is victory. The only way I can see victory in this budget is if corruption index is reducing.
According to the Minority Chief Whip, who is also MP for Adaklu, government failed to address its huge indebtedness to contractors, which has seen so many capital projects stalled around the country.
Also didn't see anything in the budget that suggests the government is committed to paying the billions they owe road contractors currently. 80% of them who are not on site because they've raised certificates and they've not been paid. And the road minister, who has been diligent to Parliament, always say that the contractors are not on site because they raise certificate, they've not been paid. If they pay them, they'll come to site. I also noticed, curiously, the Sino Hydro project, the phase 1, which used to be 10 projects, has shrunk into 7. I am extremely angry that the finance minister did not say anything about the suspension of the construction of the BOG headquarters and sending that money to La. Now that they are claiming the La General Hospital will now be only 50 million euros, we could have taken part of the $250 million money for the Bank of Ghana headquarters to go and complete that. Is the finance minister telling me that to choose between the healthcare of La people, now he's saying that project is under GOG. Everybody knows when they say a project is under GOG, it's on life support. Because they will try and say, and I can predict, they will find some money for the contractor between today and Tuesday and compel him to go to the site. As of when he gets paid, again, is another matter. I don't see government having 50 million euros easily to complete that project. So the budget is very lacking on the substance. What are you going to do to curtail corruption? Not much said about corruption. What are you going to do to reduce government expenditure? The size of government, another thing, we can't see anything about that. What are you going to do to pay contractors so that they can go to site and pay, their staff? There's nothing much about that. There's nothing about the over-bloated size of government and other things. So I think that the finance minister could have done better.
Meanwhile, the business community and traders are unhappy with the finance minister Ken Ofori-Attah's silence on scrapping redundant taxes in the 2024 fiscal budget. The traders earlier expressed concern about the impacts of COVID-19 health recovery and special import levies on the cost of doing business, asking for it to be removed, but it was absent among the rafts of tax reliefs announced by the finance minister. GUTA President Dr. Joseph Obing says they will be compelled to pass on the cost of the taxes to consumers. He spoke on PM Express with Evans Mensah.
Because we demanded that the COVID levy should be removed. It's a nuisance tax. There's not a nuisance than the COVID levy. It came to solve a specific purpose, and it's out of the table. It should be taken out of the table. It's as simple as that.
But Doc, you remember that government accumulated some COVID-related debt. That debt needs to be cleared.
Yeah, but we also know that some funds also came, and then we also know that the COVID, the pandemic came to destroy businesses. Have you also taken that into consideration? And that the pandemic that has come to destroy businesses, we impose levies on it. There's no precedent anywhere in the world. Do you have any precedent? And those countries, do they not have incur costs in combating the pandemic? No. We have to be. We have to weigh and dissect the issues properly.
Magbedu Abuaje, who is also CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, describes the 2024 budget as uninspiring.
I think that these tax relief are narrow-based and not going to have any significant impact on the cost of doing business in 2024, because it's just only few and selected companies that will largely benefit from that. Because if you look at the proportion of those who are manufacturing these key items like sanitary pad and also the African print, they are just small. What we were expecting is a tax relief that will have broad-based and significant impact on the larger part of the manufacturing company. All the things that we asked for me, we didn't see any of them being taken care of.
I see.
Yes.
List them for me.
Yes, the COVID levy. We have said that
you wanted a scrap.
It's counterproductive. I wanted it to be abolished totally. nothing was mentioned about it. We started this campaign last year during the media review, and then now nothing was done about it. The e-levy, for instance, we have said that if they want to rake in more revenue, they have to reduce the rate to 0.5. And I think people will even pay without knowing. They need revenue. We are giving them ways that we think that they should be able to get those revenue. We also made a significant input. I mean, our VAT structure is not helping. So we asked that they merge, they convert the straight line levies, the NHIL, and that of the GET fund, that 5%, 2.5, 2.5, that translates into direct cost to businesses. They should convert it back to the standard VAT, and then merge all these VATs, and then we also reduce it.
Meanwhile, Minority Leader Dr. Kasiela Toforsin says the minority will reject the approval of the 2024 budget if government fails to address concerns raised about tax waivers granted by the Finance Ministry.
What Finance Committee as we speak.
Have you managed to reach any of these companies themselves?
So we met some of them at the committee, and we in the NDC opposed it.
They didn't justify this to your satisfaction?
We've done background work, and I can assure you that 50% of these companies, they have already finished the work that they are claiming tax exemption from. In fact, 50% is an understatement. Touch wood. We in the NDC will not support this tax policy. What they have done today, by introducing tax exemption, new taxes worth 11 billion Ghana cedis, is insensitive. In fact, it's most cruel, and it shows that this government is out of touch with the realities of the people.
I mean,
it is already here. They are in Parliament as we speak. In fact, they are before the Finance Committee, and they are begging us to approve it. And we are saying no,
so
we will not approve it.
You're going to reject all that?
We have already rejected it.
Would it come for a vote?
And when it comes to the floor, we are voting against it.
At the committee level, have you already decided?
In fact, they have not put the question for the vote yet, because they saw our mood, and so they are scared to put it to vote. And if they had put it, any of them, to proper vote, they would have lost it, and they'll have to withdraw it. So they are yet to put it to vote, but all of them has been discussed.
Let's take you live to the forecourt of the State House, where the body of the late Theresa Kufuor, former First Lady, is being laid to rest.
May we all stand. May we all stand.
Slow! What? Inside! Outside!
Shall we raise our right hand?
Outside! Inside! Outside! Inside! Outside! Inside!
May the angels lead you into
Inside.
paradise.
Outside!
May
Inside!
the martyrs come to welcome you
Inside!
and take you
Outside.
to the holy city,
Inside!
the new and eternal Jerusalem.
Inside! Outside! Inside! Inside! Inside!
May choirs of angels welcome you and lead you to the bosom of Abraham, where Lazarus is poor no longer. May you find eternal rest. Whoever believes in me, even though that person died, shall live. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Mama, Teresa, Papa, rest.
Come and pass, come and
And those are the remains of the late Theresa Kufuor, former First Lady. Theresa Kufuor had been a devoted companion of former President Kufuor throughout their 61 years of marriage. She was a member of a well-known family from Odumase in the Bono region, and retired nurse and midwife. She lived most of her working life in the UK after her studies at the Radcliffe Infirmary, Oxford, and Paddington General Hospital in London. She qualifies as a state-certified midwife with a certificate in premature nursing. She was the last born of her parents. The funeral actually continues in the Ashanti region throughout the weekend. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Let's get on to other stories. Chief Justice Ghc220m has described the administration of Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akosombo Dam Spillage, as extremely inspirational. According to her, he has not only transformed the police service, but has also rebranded it to the admiration of other public institutions, including the judiciary. She is, however, urging the IGP and his team to continue with the good work in keeping Ghana safe, while assuring the judiciary's support in ensuring law and order in the country. More in this report by Samuel Mbura.
It will be recalled that the IGP, Dr. George Akosombo Dam Spillage, 2 months ago was dragged to Parliament's ad hoc committee over an alleged plot by his officers to remove him from office. The officers accused him of not properly managing the service and were allegedly scheming to remove him. But the Chief Justice Ghc220m, who was speaking during an engagement between members of the Police Management Board and the Judicial Service, said it is only those who are bent on accentuating on the negatives that are not seeing his good works.
I must say that I have found your leadership of the police extremely inspirational. I think it's only a very blind person who would not have noticed how much you have achieved in such a short time to rebrand the image of the police, to reinforce what we ought to have known from the beginning, that the police is a source of integrity, is a source of protection, is a source of help rather than a source of destruction. Your institution and my institution have suffered the same fate in an apparent lack of trust from the society.
The Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akosombo Dam Spillage, in response, has assured that his administration is not out to defend its mistakes, if there are any, but ready to receive constructive criticisms for a positive change in the Ghana Police Service.
Because over the recent times, we at the administration now come to one realization that we need two important things to make the difference we want to make for becoming the best institution in the country and a reference point for the rest of Africa and beyond. And those two things, we think that it's a sense of guilt and a sense of shame. When we have these two senses, it means that it helps us to know the things that we are doing right and the things that we are doing wrong. And then with a sense of guilt, knowing that what we have done is wrong, and with shame associated with it, we may be mindful not repeating it next time. And it will take only the people we serve to draw our attention to these things. And when our attention are drawn to them, then we'll be in a position to learn from them.
The engagement with the Chief Justice and the Judicial Service forms part of ongoing stakeholder engagements as the IGP leads his top security chiefs to meet and discuss matters relating to public safety, especially at a time the festive season approaches and the political events are heating up for election 2024. The aim is to ensure all Ghanaians are protected and opens up with the police to volunteer information to clamp down on crime in the country. Samuel Mbura, Joy News.
Well, in the midst of the illegal mining distraction across the country, citizen resistance is emerging in some communities. One of those is Atronsu in Bibiani and Bekwai municipality. Residents are leading a crusade against any form of mining to protect their farms and the beautiful forest and water sources in that community. This is captured in the concluding part of Poison for Gold, a documentary produced by Erastus Asaridonko. Here are it.
Atronsu is a small farming community in the Bibiani and Bekwai municipality. It is home to this beautiful forest and its serene water source, the Atronsu stream.
Perhaps this is one of the most cleanest water sources flowing through a very green, serene forest on my trail across Ghana. This is so clean, you can drink it. And this is the lifeblood of the farmers, the cocoa farms, pepper growing farms, other farms across this community.
Series of attempts have been made to give this land out for community mining schemes, but the community says no. 80-year-old Georgina Awotwe and others want any form of mining to be resisted.
Did you say you were bringing community mining here? These young ones are the reason we live and work. The mining will bring teenage pregnancy and truancy. The children will not go to school. Look at the devastation caused by mining on the Dunkwa Road. Look at how the buildings have been affected. Look at the polluted water bodies. Children are drowning in pits. We are saying we don't want any community mining. Give us better jobs, not mining. If the government wants peace, they should reconsider the decision to bring mining here. We don't want it.
Patrick Jaffet Danso, a farmer, and some residents are in court fighting to prevent the destruction of this green ecosystem.
If it is community mining, at least it is the community members who are to engage in it. But here is the case, they said two companies, Gido Mining Company, Aramzad Company, they are from somewhere that we don't know. The address can be found in Kumasi. So how come it is community mining? Now, the case is at the High Court. So until what we are seeking for, we want injunction to be placed on this community mining because we are not ready. because of the consequences that we foresee. So no matter what, even if they are going to kill us, they should kill us and then take the land.
Me and my brothers and those who love the town, we are fighting. Even, I will say again, if they will kill us one by one, we shall fight until they stop what they want to do.
President Akufo-Addo has described former President John Mahamas' quest to return to power as deceitful. He says it is impossible for John Mahama to assume a new leadership posture when voted as president in December 2024. Nana Akufo-Addo believes voting for the former president will further stifle development in the country. He spoke at the inauguration of a library named after him in the Bantama constituency. Nanaya Ojima has more.
According to the president, the government of the National Democratic Congress under John Mahama failed to deliver on its mandate. He believes there is no evidence that the former president will do better when voted again. Nana Akufo-Addo therefore cautions the electorates against falling for what he terms as deceptions.
We are going to the polls again. The one who couldn't perform has returned as a changed person seeking for votes. How do you do that? You have given the mandate, but you couldn't perform. How do you return claiming you have changed? You haven't. You are only trying to deceive us. Will you agree to vote for him? We won't do that.
The president wants the electorate to eschew tribal and religious differences and vote Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for his competence. He also campaigned for a second term for the Bantama MP, Francis Asensio-Boakye.
The vice president, Mahmoud Bawumia, MP4, Ashade Apejano.
The NPP have elevated Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to take my place as flag bearer. I'm pleading with everyone not to disturb the party. In this country, we don't care about your tribe or religion. All that matters to us is an individual competence, truthfulness and hard work. Those are the factors we consider to vote. Also, it will hurt me for the Bantama constituency to throw Asensio out of parliament.
The MP constructed the community library and technology hub for the Bantama community. The facility, named after Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is expected to help improve literacy and ICT knowledge among children. Asensio-Boakye is Bantama MP.
We have to help the young ones get equal opportunities with others so they can compete globally. That's why I've decided to help every community get a library and technology hub.
Making sure that community library and technology hub.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
The Bono East Regional Secretariat of the NDC is accusing the ruling NPP of abandoning major road projects in the region. We'll take a break on Joy News today. When we return, we'll bring you business. Welcome back to the rest of our stories. Junior high school students are lamenting pressure associated with a decision by GES to reverse the former academic calendar, which took off September this year and ends same month next year. Some of the students say they're unable to adequately prepare for both internal and external exams due to limited space and time to complete the syllabus. They are also concerned about the extra cost of tuition their parents have had to incur to help them catch up to ease the pressure. Their mates who are unable to get themselves extra tuition are lacking downhill. Benjamin has been interacting with some of these students and filed this report.
Gideon Adongo is a junior high school graduate. He wrote BECE this year. Gideon says it was tough for him to write the exam. He said he and his mates had a very short period to revise and prepare adequately for the final exams when they were promoted to Form 3. According to him, staying up all night by his books to make sure he catches up on all his learning materials to the extent of falling sick on many occasions put him under a lot of pressure. He said their teachers couldn't complete most of the topics with them in class. They were therefore not familiar with most of the questions that popped up in the exam.
As for me, I was fully prepared. We were fully prepared. It was smart. Looking at the time, it was tough. It was tough, yes. So you couldn't get, like, let me say, a 1 year gap as it used to be. So you prepare. So you had roughly about 7 marks. So was there any pressure? How did it affect your preparation towards the BECE?
Yeah, as for the pressure, yes, because looking at from January to August, like, I don't know how to put it. The preparation, it was tough because me covering some of the topics, I couldn't. So I have to learn overnight. I don't sleep, and I even fell sick because of that. We met some questions we didn't even know.
The cost of getting extra tuition to be able to complete all topics put a number of their mates at a disadvantage because of their inability to afford. Others were also concerned about teachers exhausting all lesson periods, including those meant for extracurricular activities such as sports, library, group discussions, and for their personal studies.
My parents got an extra classes in the school, but I was a different teacher. So every break, when we have break, then I go there and I do the extra classes. When it's break over, then I go back to my class. Some of them, they don't have the means to attend extra classes, but they are also performing well. Others, they are going downhill.
Yes, I used to have a lot of time to learn and all these things. But now, after each week, there's a test or something. But first, because we go to school for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we happen to write our midterm test. But now, in GHS, since we are only attending school in GHS for 12 weeks, and each week, each day we can write papers, like we can write 5 papers on a day, and that is affecting us so much.
The students are convinced the situation for a change of academic calendar would not arise anymore in the future. Apart from the fact that it's negatively affecting their academic performance, it denies them of fully enjoying every aspect of the academic plan. This, they feel, will not give them a holistic educational exposure. Benjamin Tay, New Year's report read to you.
We'll take a break on Joy News today. When we return, it's business.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Government has been entreated to focus more on improving local enterprises to consolidate its industrialization agenda. According to the Director General for Management Development and Productivity Institute, Bernice Ejay, this is significant to ensure sustainability. She spoke to Joy Business at the launch of Phase 3 of the Sustaining Competitive and Responsible Enterprises Program.
The Sustaining Competitive and Responsible Enterprises is an ILO global program that seeks to improve productivity and working conditions in small and medium enterprises. The key intervention of the global program is a training which combines practical classroom sessions with in-factory consulting. SCORE training demonstrates the best international practices in the manufacturing and services sector and help SMEs to participate in global supply chains. According to the Director General, these enterprises need more advisory services.
It's actually very fulfilling because the impact the SCORE program is having on the enterprises. You know that in Ghana, 80% of the enterprises or the businesses are all small and medium scale. And so when you see the impact on how the transformation goes It's very, very fulfilling and exciting. And on top of that, without the SCORE program, we cannot achieve the industrialization agenda for the nation, which is to, build up our industries, and it is through best practices. And so what SCORE gives the enterprises is how to be competitive and how to sustain your business. It's a continuous learning process. And so we are excited how the German government, through GIZ, is funding these projects. We started in Accra and then moved to Kumasi, Central Region, and now happy to tell you that we are in the north now. And a lot of the processes that goes on, sometimes we leave out some of the regions, so we've been pushing to go to the north. And now we are actually going even further. After this project, we're going more to the northern part, and then we'll be going to Volta region, we'll be going to Oti region. And so what I tell the enterprises who call is that everybody should exercise patience, and we are coming.
The SCORE program was launched in 2011 in Ghana with funding from the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs and the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation.
Now, Development Bank Ghana has announced a game-changing recommendation to support Ghana's effort to achieve food security, among other economic benefits. Speaking at a DBG Value Chain Dissimulation workshop, the bank's chief economist and head of Economic Research Department, Dr. Kwabena Opunim-Frimpong, said the objective is to unplug the identified bottlenecks along the critical parts of the value chains of rice, maize, soya, and poultry sectors.
Food imports are responsible for about half of food inflation in Ghana. With high import volumes of staple food items, particularly rice, sugar, and poultry, the effects of the cost of living on the average citizen cannot be underestimated. In light of this, Development Bank Ghana and its key partners undertook deliberate efforts, including the multi-stakeholder workshops, to unravel the issues in order to be able to address market failures and critical food supply chains of maize, soya, poultry, and rice. Speaking to Joy Business at the Value Chain Dissimulation Workshop, DBG's chief economist and head of Economic Research Department, Dr. Kwabena Opunim-Frimpong, said its game-changing recommendations will unplug the identified bottlenecks in the value chain.
GCS, for example, they've officially written to us that they've adopted all the recommendations that you have put forward. They've written to us, our CEO, Keduka. So I believe the next stage of discussion will go on. We have set up also an implementation committee with GCS. We are working on the scope of work and all of that.
He said the Ghana Commodity Exchange needs a massive reform to ensure food security in the country.
This is a national security issue. Food is a national security issue. So again, government can come in, and again, DBG, maybe after a lot of internal deliberation, we can probably also figure out a way in which we can support GCX. But one thing is clear, GCX needs all the support it can get to make our food security issue go away or minimize it. That is incontrovertible. We have to do it. Which way we do it, we have to put our heads together, but you have to get it done.
Meanwhile, Director of Agribusiness at Ghc220m, Samuel Yeboah, pledged their commitment to double their support in the agri value chain to ensure food sufficiency in the country.
We are looking at doubling this performance over years, every year, to ensure that more support is given to the agricultural sector to be able to produce more, to become self-sufficient in food production in the country.
DBG, in the meantime, is optimistic its recommendations and other proposals will be implemented in due course. For Joy Business, Pius Kojubaka.
And that's it for the segment. Sports is up next. Don't go anywhere.
Let's do sports now. On Joy News today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla, former Chief Executive Officer of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Herbert Mensah has called on supporters of the club to be calm despite their horrendous start to the season. by the Porcupine Warriors. According to him, the leadership of the club are probably putting in place the right structures that would ensure that they are able to compete for honors. He spoke on the Pulse with Elton Broby.
You know, when you love a club and you love a sport, it will always be in your blood. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko has provided me with some of the most beautiful, heartwarming, as well as painful points in my life. So, but one thing I've learned is that after all of these years, Kotoko will always be Kotoko. This situation, I believe that those in charge must have a solution. That's why they've been given custodianship of the club, and they should bounce out of it. I've always believed that Kotoko is bigger than the domestic league, and I believe that the leadership should really be looking at conquering Africa, not in the position that it is in. So I would hope that it is just a phase that they're going through, and that very soon we can see the way out, as we saw with Arsenal, we've seen with your team, Liverpool, in the past, have their downs, and they then come up, and then they do very well. But I think when you have more than 10, 12 million people following a football club, the expectations are very high. And to be too low in the league is not acceptable to the average supporter. I would hope that they look. I'm sure they must be. Kotoko cannot be running rudderless. I'm sure they must have some plans in place. And as supporters, we have to wait and see if those plans will bring the success of what Kotoko really deserves.
The Black Stars will hold its final training session later today ahead of the FIFA.com and read some more sports stories. Thanks very much for your time.
Time now for showbiz, and Pastor Joe Beecham has launched the second edition of his concert Yonder at the Victory Bible Church in Awushi. Speaking to my colleague Ibi, Pastor Joe also explains why he named the concert Yoda, and also speaks on the artists on the bill. Listen.
Yonder is an English word. It means beyond. It's similar to beyond. It's the same as beyond. Yonder. So in Genesis 22:5, Abraham told the servant when he got to the mountain where he was going to make the sacrifice to God, he said, "You wait here. I and the lad will go yonder to worship, and we'll return to you."
How does it relate to the concert you're doing, and why this name?
Yes, thank you. I see a lot of concerts, musical shows, ministered in many of them by the grace of God. I ask myself, the experience we have when we go to such places, is that all? Is that something that we haven't encountered yet? You know, as a spiritual person, I keep asking God, God, have we had enough of you?
And that's how we wrap up the showbiz news. That's how we wrap up the bulletin. Also, this afternoon, log on to myjournline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.